game you guys covered at Shaker, which I listened to all of it, by the way. Thank you. Thank you for your help in this game. So I'd like to give you guys a little credit for our win tonight. We got to listen to all your insight during the game.
You're live with Umoja 2 TV.
You're watching 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 Umoja 2 TV.
Deep three goes by. Oh, baby. Ortale here goes. He goes up. He goes it. Yeah!
Set up. Oh, beautiful play, and he bangs it down.
Loses it. Oh, it might be a banger. Oh! 5 seconds to go. Oh! Big fella. What the hell?
To Reinich. Reinich again pulls up for three. Splash! I got to tell Jordan to penetrate. Pulls up for three. Splash!
Pressure this easy. That just can't happen. Wow! Oh, good pass. Latif goes to over. Welcome, Umoja 2 TV, high school remix show. I'm Coach Danzy alongside my partner, Coach Fullard. Coach, it's happy holiday. How was your holiday little vacation? How was it?
It was chill.
Did you chill?
It was chill.
We hope all the people out there who's watching Umoja 2 TV had a fabulous holiday season with family and friends and it's enjoying each other. You know, that's very important this time of year. And actually, we should be doing this much more often throughout the year. Just to spend time with one another and everything else. Busy week, Coach. Busy week in high school basketball.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Went to a few games this week.
Yes, we
all
did.
Right. So let's talk about the first one that we covered, Coach, this week. And Bethlehem versus Nichols. And Nichols is out of Section 6 up near Buffalo area, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
A quality team, but you can see they were a little undermanned. You know, they lost a player there, the big fella, Chris Steinman, and the 6'6". He brought a lot to the team. 17 points, you know, double digits in rebounds.
13 rebounds a game.
Yeah, you know, about 4 or 5 blocks a game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that definitely hurt him. But that doesn't take away what Bethlehem Eagles did, Coach.
Of course not.
I mean, the Bethlehem Eagles, Coach, they did it by committee, but, you know, Ortale was definitely the leader of that pack there, Coach.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts about that game?
I mean, it was very unfortunate that Nichols, because, I mean, the guy, I mean, we cited sometimes this kid that was missing, the Steinman kid, I mean, he had 29 points in some games.
Yes.
6'6" guy. So it was unfortunately that he wasn't able to play. I think the outcome would have shaped a little bit differently. But nonetheless, like you said, you can't take nothing away from Bethlehem.
Right.
I mean, Bethlehem has a well-balanced attack.
Yes.
They're a well-rounded team. They got some inside presence with Salo. They got the outside presence, of course, with Ortale, and then Leclerc.
Yes.
I mean, and you got, you know, the guard, Justin Barnes, a little feisty guard there. Will Davis coming off the bench. So, I mean, Bethlehem, I mean, they're a viable team, and there's something to be reckoned with in Section 2 as we move forward, Coach.
Coach, you know, Ortale's, as we know from last year, Coach, his long-distance shot was definitely on display last night. He had a couple of those long bombs, Coach. I think if the game was closer, you'd probably see a lot more of them because he'd be in the game a lot longer.
Absolutely.
So we see a lot more opportunities for him to score the ball. He's also a fascinating person, Coach, because he actually shares the ball well, too. He's not a ball hog, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you can tell, though, Coach, when they need a bucket or when it's crunch time, he knows knows that he's the guy that's going to be getting that shot off.
Yeah, he's definitely their PTP. And one of the other things I liked about Bethlehem too as well, coach, is that they got out in transition well. Right. They got a nice sized team. They attacked the rim very well, finished inside strong. So they have like we said, they have a well balanced attack. And speaking of Ortale, I mean that guy can go get a bucket. Yeah. You know, kids say he's a walking bucket. He can go get a bucket when you need one.
Coach, he missed the dunk, but that explosiveness off the bounce, one dribble off the backdoor cut, in traffic, that was a crazy.
And he started banging on somebody.
Yes, it was a traffic.
Yeah,
like 4 green shirts around him, coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, that showed me the elevation of his game, coach. He had another element. You got to watch out now. If he gets in that paint, you might get banged off. You're not paying attention.
He might become a poster. You know, and the thing about it is that we know he's 100% now.
Right,
He's back doing things like that as such. He's back. I mean, they're poised for a nice run. I mean, Coach Adrian has to be happy to have that guy back in the stable and have the surrounding pieces that he has around him as well.
I mean, Leclerc played well, you know what I mean? Considering, you know, I mean, like again, if the game was closer, he'd be playing a lot more too, I believe. You know what I mean? See, you really can't gauge this team because you don't know how deep they really are. And the block, Adrian went to the bench often and early there, and he shuffled guys in and out. So we don't know really how deep they are when it comes crunch time.
That's true. I haven't been out there and haven't seen them as much as we would like to, and seen them this one game against an undermanned Nichols team. Because not only was they missing a big man, they only dressed like 7 players. Right. It wasn't really a true testament of what we can see Bethlehem can do in a well-heated, contested battle. Right. But down the line, we'd be sure to see it, though. But however, having said that, they definitely have a team, and you can understand why they're undefeated right now. Moving forward to definitely something to reckon with.
That's right. I mean, Nichols is young too. There are a lot of sophomores on the team as well. So, but coach, what impressed me a little bit, like Adrian's coach is trying to up tempo the game a little bit. He was in a little full court pressure there from the start, coach. So might be another wrinkle he might have put in his little arsenal this year.
When you have a big team like that with that type of size, 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", all on the court at one time, man, I mean, that looks like a big press. That press looks intimidating now when you have those kind of guys and that kind of size on the floor. So I can see why he would go with that philosophy of pressing, up-tempo type game, get the ball. It was limited to one shot, get the ball off the rim, push it, attack the seams, get in the open court. That seems to be their philosophy of how they get it done.
Now, you said size. Now, I don't see much size there, but you're talking about overall size as a team, as a collective.
Yes, absolutely. From man to a man, they can both 6 foot and better at any given time, and that's from about 4 to 5 positions at some time. So that is like an overall
you got Salo who's 6'4", you got Ortale who's 6'3", you know, you got a couple other guys, I can't remember right now.
Is like what?
He's about 6'3", you know what I mean?
So when you got that kind of size that you can
they can move, they're like athletic guys that can move around.
That's a fact. So when you have that kind of guys with that kind of size and that kind of agility and that kind of athletic ability, man, you got a lot to work with, and you cannot be happier.
And those guys played together. I mean, it's come off a Section 2 chip not too long ago, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, several years ago, absolutely.
So they got that. Some of the guys were in the program when that happened.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So they're riding high right now, and they look poised to make a deep run going into the sectional playoffs.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one, Coach, and that was the game that we covered last night, Coach. Averill Park versus Saugerties, and Saugerties didn't do too well. Averill Park ran away with this one, Coach, 75-49.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And the leading scorer in that game was Zach Price with 22, Avery Piles-Cucci, 17, Thomas Hacker with 13, and on the losing side, Saugerties Sawyer's coach, Dior Johsnon, finished with 28. He was the closest guy on his team to him and scoring on his team was 7 points. He had 28. Next guy is 7. So that tells you the type of environment that the game was in.
Absolutely.
So, Coach, your initial thoughts of seeing Averill Park for the first time? And Dior Johsnon, who's a fabulous player, who's a 5-star recruit in the class of 2022. You know what I mean? And he just got back from Florida. He was at IMG down there. It didn't work out well because he was homesick and he hurt his leg, so he wanted to come back home. From the reports that I read, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So he's back home with his compadres. Yes. You know, I'm pretty sure he's happy to be back and everything else. He came back in his first game against, I believe, Pine Plains in a close game there, Coach. He dropped 20 points. And I think he came down to the wire there and he hit a clutch basket in that game. So in the second game, he comes up in Section 2 area because they're from Section, I believe from Section 9.
Okay.
I think it was Section 9, and they came up here in Section 2 and played Burn Hills in the first game of the Sean Watts Memorial Classic up at Burn Hills, and they played Burn Hills, and he dropped 53 points, Coach.
Yeah, 50.
I mean,
50.
ill. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They dropped 20 here. So give me your thoughts on the game, Coach.
Well, what I thought the game was, I didn't know really exactly what to expect. I heard a lot about the kid Dior Johsnon, and I didn't really know too much to expect with their Saugerties team.
Right.
And we wanted to get out and watch Averill Park because we had talked about our show about Averill Park being a viable team, a team you can't overlook. So we wanted to lay eyes on them, and what I thought, I was impressed. Yeah. I must say, I was impressed with the Averill Park team and some of the things that they bring to the table and what they do. Mm-hmm. I mean, along with Hacker, I mean, he got two guys off the rip with Price and Hacker that gets after it. Yeah. These guys are aggressive, they come with intensity, and they're tenacious. Yeah. So that Averill Park team, and then with the guard, Avery Parascucci, I mean, he's another punch too, adds outside punch, shooting. And I think you cited Averill Park being one of those teams that knocks down a lot of three balls as well.
Yes,
so they got the outside
that's right.
going in, and then these guys attack. So I was impressed with Averill Park. It's one of those teams that when we looked at like a Boston Spa last year, you kind of see an Averill Parkish type of thing this year with those guys. We're a team you can't overlook. Yeah. I mean, these guys get after. The only thing that I would look at with Averill Park is probably their back to the basket, their inside presence. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I mean, these guys are poised to compete, and their players are ready. Right. So, and I saw with them, because they got decent size, nothing crazy, but got decent size. You know what I mean? And I could definitely see why they gave Shin such a scare. You know what I mean? Yes. And when Zach Price gets going, Coach, he gets going. He can fill it up. He can fill it up. You got to figure out where this guy's at all times. He can hit the jumper, and he can, ball fake and drive to the basket. Yes. And he got a in-between game too, Coach. He got a middle mid-range game as well. And I was very impressed with Hacker, Coach, his ability to. He only averages 10 points a game. I said only. That's a lot in high school basketball. He averages 10 points a game. But he was doing some fabulous things in that game, Coach, in the post area, getting the ball in the wing, driving it hard to the basket, knocking down free throws. So, like you said about Parascucci, he reminds me a little bit of Chris Holbert from Shin last year with the type of motor he has. You know what I mean? He can knock the jumper down. So that team there, Coach, can be very formidable down right. I don't know how in depth their bench is. Right. You know what I mean? To be able to compete, but they're young too, Coach. They got like 3 sophomores in that team. They got a big man that's 6'6" who's a sophomore in that team too, Coach. Right. So we might be able to. They might, as the season grows, those young guys get more confident, get more playing time, and get their feet more wet, Coach. Hey, they definitely could do some things. So that was, and on the flip side of it, Saugerties, they just didn't have much. I mean, it was just Dior Johsnon. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times he was facing double teams as he drove to the basket, and they were sending 2 guys. And then he was dishing the ball. I mean, this team wasn't giving them a lot of assistance and helping and making Averill Park be honest. Right. You know, you knock down some shots, you spread the floor open for this kid, and he can do a little bit more. Right. You know what I mean? Keep the defense a little bit more honest, have a little bit more one-on-ones. Yeah. And however, but you can see the youth in him. He's he's a phenomenal player. Yes, he is. You know what I mean? And you can see the youth in him. It was times that he forced a couple things, trying to split double teams and such of that nature. Yeah. So some polishment that needs to be taking place with this kid. Right. However, because sometimes when we go out and we watch these kids and you hear about these kids, you get this imagination thought about like, oh, this guy must be off the chart, and nothing to take away from him, but you can see where he's a freshman, and the growth of his game still needs to improve, and the process needs to take place. That's right. You know what I mean? So I saw. And the thing about that, Coach, is that you should be growing. Right. I mean, if this guy is done being polished right now, you're done then. Yeah, right, you're done. People are going to catch up to you. You know what I mean? Fact. So he got a nice little mid-range game. His pull-up game was nice. I like that. He can attack the basket really well. Yep. He got a nice, good handle. You know what I mean? Just that right now, I think the decision as far as when to break down the defense is going to be key. Because, right now you're playing against an Averill Park who's battle tested in the Suburban Council. You know what I mean? They've seen all types of phenomenal players already. Right. You know what I mean? So seeing Dior Johsnon is not nothing. They won't be starstruck over that. Yeah, their doors won't be blown up at all. And he's not that big, 6'2". Right. So you're not scary. You know what I mean? That's true. So me coming to help out of my team who's guarding you is nothing. That's a fact. You know what I mean? So he just needs to know when to push and when to let back.
back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the ball always gonna come back to him
No
in
matter.
that offense. That team right there is gonna swing it and move around, cut, go to a different spot. It's gonna get back to you.
Where's Dior? Where's Dior at?
Exactly.
Yeah, and he will grow. He's
Yes.
6'2" now. He's a freshman. He'll grow. He'll get stronger. He'll get faster. His jumping ability will get a little bit more.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be one of those players that, as we go down the line, he's be something to reckon with.
Coach,
So,
as a 7th, 8th grader coach, he compiled 1,098 points. The first, he's the fastest, he's the youngest player to get to break 1,000 mark.
Oh, yeah.
Point mark in New York history.
so Joe Girard record is on watch.
Oh,
Is it on watch?
yeah, it's on watch. He had 28 this game, John 53 the other one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's a fact.
I don't know how, we got to look back at the numbers. When did Joe Girard, what does his freshman year look like?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
When you cite the fact that he's the fastest,
Yes.
he's on a fast track, coach.
Yes.
He's on a fast track.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
he's on a
sir.
fast track. So.
Yes, sir. And he does really well in that competition down there in Section 9, the Class A division that he's in. He does really well down there. So just like Joe Girard now who's in Class A, he does really well up in the foothills. You know
Right,
what I mean?
and it's the same thing with Joe Girard as it was with Jimmer Fredette.
Right.
The ball is coming back to those guys.
Yeah.
They're going to be a featured guy in that offense. Don't have to worry about too many other guys.
Yeah.
And then it's the kind of situation where it's not going to be teammates getting upset. It's actually teammates looking for you.
Right.
Suburban Council got some tears good. Yo, my man, you took a couple more shots than you needed to be. I need to touch that. I need to feel that.
Can I get some of that, fam?
Can I get some of that?
So true. Okay, Coach, we're going to move on from that game unless you got anything else to add to that.
No, I'm good with that. Let's
Okay,
move on.
okay. So we can say that we're pleasantly pleased with Dior.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely.
You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna say this: we was definitely pleasantly, with his game, pleased with his game. It was just for me, it was just more polishment. When you speak about kids, sometimes people talk in hyperbole,
Right.
And the type of coverage that we are, what we look for in players is how well do you IQ wise? How well do you read the game? How well do you see the game? How well do you do this and different things of that nature? So when you hear all of this stuff, you go and you look for these things, and you saw that he was a young player with some skill set,
athletic ability.
Athletic ability,
Yep.
had a lot of room to grow,
Right.
a lot of room to improve, and haven't totally arrived
Right.
yet. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And Zach Price for Averill Park, coach, is a phenomenal player, coach. He moves up on our list, I believe, and we talked about that later. We'll talk about that later, but he's a phenomenal player.
Yes.
We move on, coach. A third game that we went to, we didn't actually cover. We just went to it. That
Right.
was CBA. At their home, they beat Amsterdam. Coach, that was a laugher. 84 to 47. Watch it paint dry. Yeah, coach, that was a laugher, coach. We got there late, and it was already,
It was always like a 19, 20 point lead when we got there.
Right. So not very much there to say. Jordan King had 16 points. He looked good in a couple shots. He scored in a couple segments in that game where he just knocked down like 3 shots in a row.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He looked real smooth. O2 finished with 15, and Foley, the young junior guard there, he had 13. So that tells you where they're at.
They were never challenged in that game, and so it was nothing really to be said about it. It was a runaway game from the start, and they ran away and hide to the end.
Okay, Coach. So CBA moves on. They played them again today, I think. So I don't, we'll see how much. You going that game, Coach?
I think I'll get some rest or something.
Okay, let's run down a couple other games that we didn't go to that happened on Thursday, December 28th. We had Academy play Liberty. They lost to Liberty down in Delaware, some tournament down in Delaware, state of Delaware, 65-73. Jackson had 19 points, Brown had 18, Mahoney had 14 in that game. Also, they played, I didn't see the results of that game, but they played Gonzaga from D.C. as well. I didn't see the results for that game, and they played that game. They played them really strong. They lost a close game in that one as well. You know what I mean? So, like you said, Coach, Army Academy is not playing, cupcakes.
Right.
They're playing teams that are gonna get them battle tested. And Fuscio is also putting his players in positions to be seen.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? Playing his quality players to see where his players match up. You know what I mean? On a national level. You wonder why some guys want to go play for him right now?
Got long money over in the academy, though. Got long money over in the academy.
Yeah,
I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Okay,
I mean, your point
your point is definitely okay. They need to build a new gym over there. That's what they need. Use that long money for that. All right. We can never broadcast a game in that tiny gym, Coach. There's no room there.
Yeah, it's hard.
All Let me see. Then we had Shin, coach. They moved up and played a Section 5 team. They beat Fairport up in, I believe, in the Rochester area up there, coach, 50-36. Ottenberger led the way with 15 points, and Rhinish finished with 11. So that was a good win for Section 2 and for Shin, coach. We're expanding our horizons out there, beating some teams in different sections this year, coach. We need to do a rundown on that. How we did outside the section.
That's a fact.
Also, Averill Park on that Thursday, coach. They beat Queensberry 67-48. Zach Price again, coach, dropped 22 points. He also was, we forgot to mention, that championship game against Saugerties, he was the MVP of that tournament.
Yeah, that's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yep.
So I need to mention that. And Saugerties beat Burn Hills, as I mentioned before, in overtime, 73-71. Like I said before, Dior Johsnon dropped 53 points. And for Burn Hills, Jack Wyatt finished with 31 in that game. All right, coach. So Friday, December 29th, game results. Averill Park, like I said before, they beat Saugerties 75-49. Already went over the points in that game. Shin lost to West Geneseo, coach, in a close one by 1 point. Jack Rhinish, coach, finished with 20 points in that game. And West Geneseo, coach, a Section 3 team.
Okay.
You know, they're playing teams like Henninger,
Nottingham, and
Liverpool,
and
stuff
all
like
those
that. So that's a good. That tells you how good our section is, coach. Losing a close one right there. But I bet you a game that they could have had in their hand. We got to get some more intel about that game and see how that went. Green Tech beat Guilderland, coach. No surprise there. 66-51. Josh Rodriguez finished with 26 points. Keymore Johnson 13 points. Colony beat Waterville Elite, who's a Class B school, 59-49. Marcus Shelton finished with 17 points for Colony. I think he's a sophomore. I got to check back on that, but I think he's a sophomore. He's definitely maybe a junior. Aaron Satin, coach, finished with 15. Our guy, we like Aaron Satin. He finished with 15. So that's a decent win for them. And that was in their tournament too, coach. So they're gonna they advanced to play in the championship game of their own tournament with that win. Mahonison beat Catskill, coach, 61-51. Duncan Tellman finished with 23 points. And a Catskill player, Justin Brantley, coach, finished with 30 in that game. So Catskill got some players out there. All right, coach. So also LaSalle beat Nichols 53-35. I don't have any information on that game. No information was provided. They also had another game with Troy playing Concordian. No information in that game. I don't know who won or lost. I'm assuming that Troy lost that game because when I looked at in the standings for Suburban, they got one loss in their loss column. Gotcha. So I'm assuming that they lost. Bishop Givens, coach, beat Cavan Central 76-65. Rodney Parker for Gibbons dropped 25 points. Cavan Central's Jackson Brown dropped 25 points. I just wanted to mention that because Jackson Brown I covered at the Quebec camp. So I just want to give him a little shout out there. Coach, those are the game results.
Okay, that's week in review.
Week in review. So now we got today's matchups, coach. Today's matchups. Okay, today's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
December 29th. So I got Green Tech versus Colony at 7 at Colony tournament for the championship. Academies versus Westtown. They're in Delaware tournament, so if you're anywhere down in that area, Delaware area, go check them out. Maybe my helicopter might be ready to bring us down there, coach. I don't know.
I don't. Did you get it fueled up? Is it fueled? Make sure the fuel is all set.
I've had a couple spark plugs we need to get changed out. I don't know if they came in time, but we'll see. Gilland versus Waterville Elite. They're at the Colony tournament. They play at 5:30. That should be an interesting game. I like to see Gilland get off the slide there, see where they're at. Maybe a good measure to see where Waterville Elite is too.
That's
see where they're at. Being a double A school. All right. And for kicks and giggles, coach, we got Troy versus Cavan Central. I don't know what time that game is.
Yeah.
But it's at the Cavan Central gym. I think it's Cavan Central tournament. And the star game of the day, coach, is a Sal at Saratoga Springs at 3 o'clock.
Looking forward to that game.
Looking forward to that game, coach.
Looking forward to that game.
That will tell us a lot.
Yeah, your fight might change. No, you might even keep it to say. You might cite some crazy stuff. And then Saratoga.
No, Saratoga.
Then Saratoga. So you won't have that. You won't have that caveat to say that Saratoga, we weren't at home. Because last year when Saratoga played LaSalle at LaSalle, that was a really close game. I mean, if it was a one game during that winning streak that was in question, at LaSalle, it was a tough game. And thus far the way LaSalle is playing, it's a game to be reckoned with. So
this game could be. They can tell a lot about LaSalle as well, Coach.
Yes.
You know, even they stick close to Saratoga, it will tell us a lot about them. You know, I mean, they've been sticking close to everybody so far.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? So that's the matchups, Coach. Let's talk about some issues that might have came up in the public sphere out there, Coach. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, one thing, Coach, is that I want to talk about the state of sports sometimes. Sometimes we get in situations where, like, what we're starting to see now, Coach, is a lot more, how can I put it? It's a lot more aggressiveness. It's a lot more of ignorance, so to speak, for lack of a better term right now, that you see where like the state of sports with youth sports with coaching, with the parents, with the fans, and everything like that. It's like kind of getting scary. I mean, you had one situation that happened not too long ago, December 24th, where Christopher Hooks, the father of a kid, went to the coach of Paul Robeson High School in Brooklyn, Todd Miles, to confront him on his son's playing time. And for whatever reasons, the story was not totally clear, but a third person showed up at the house and wound up shooting both of them.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he was approaching he went to the coach's house to approach him about playing time for his son.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I wanted to just touch on some of the issues of what's going on in sports, to kind of give us our message out there, and kind of like, you know, so it's like a message to the parents, to the fans, and the coaches are like, you know, sports is a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful opportunity for our youth.
Yes.
It teaches them a lot of things: punctuality, responsibility, accountability, team building, etc. Making long life friends, business partners. I mean, basketball brought us together. Right. You know what I mean? This is long life business partner. So it's a wonderful thing that can be harnessed if it's done correctly. Right. You know what I mean? And right now, what we're seeing is a lot of times, unfortunately, parents are like getting in the way of that fun. You know what I mean? That fun, that enjoyment for the youth. You know what I mean? So what we are unfortunately witnessing today, our youth are actually missing out on the fun and the spirit of the game. Right. So a lot of times, I mean, the great Jerry Wells said that from Potsdam, who won 2 National Division III champions, said, "It's a fun and exciting game. It's too bad we have to keep the score." You know what I mean? Because that invokes so much intensity, and what we're seeing more and more is confrontations between fans, opposing teams, fans at the players, fans at the coaches, fans at the refs, fights, brawls. You're seeing so much that the youth are actually missing out. This is actually traumatizing to them in a way where they're missing out so much more. So what we want to do is shed light and say, listen, let's bring it back, and so the youth can have fun. You know, all the youth are they're working through that traumatic events. They're just trying to have fun, meet friends, be excited, and we're getting in the way of that. A lot of times, just let them have fun and excited. Parents, it would do you some justice to make it more about your child oftentimes than yourself. Right. You're getting in the way of your own kids' happiness. All right, it's a certain professional decorum that you need to have as a parent, certain professionalism you need to carry yourself as a parent, because you're actually your kid's first role model. So you want to be the one to show them how to conduct yourself, how to carry yourself, how to approach things. There's a way to do things, and there's a way how to do things. So, and in coaches, it will do you some justice in addition to maintain professional decorum and professionalism as well. I mean, you're dealing with youth, you're dealing with parents, you're dealing with refs. They're watching you. Right. So you're another role model that the youth are watching as well, how you conduct yourself. So it's very important that in that position, a lot of times you're a pseudo dad to some of these kids. So it's so important that you carry yourself really well. And what you can do also, coaches, is do yourself a favor. When playing time is available, like this situation, I don't know all the details of what happened, but all too often you see sometimes where kids have an opportunity to play in a blowout or this and that, and coaches elect to keep the kid on the bench. Right. You know what I mean? play them. That'll help keep parents off your back sometimes when you're in those situations and circumstances. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be definitely difficult, you know, when you're dealing with parents, you know, alike, and that can be hard. However, try to do things that can alleviate the pressure of yourself. You know what I mean? And as a coach, finally, what I would say as a coach, it's a tough situation as a coach, as we know. All right, you start your tryouts, you got 40 kids in your gym. All right, you got 40 kids in your gym when you start your tryouts. You cut 20. So when you cut 20, that's 20 parents that don't think you know what you're doing. Right off the rip, they don't have a clue. All right, so now you got 20 kids, you cut 8 more kids. You're down to your 12. That's 28 parents now that don't think you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, this guy don't know what he's doing, all right? Now you start your starting 5, right? That's 7 kids who don't start. So that's 35 parents now that don't think you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And then you got 5 kids who you start. Now the 5 starters, the parents are saying, my kid is out of position. He don't know what he's doing. So that's 40 parents all of a sudden that don't think you know what you're doing. So it's hard to please everybody. And every time, it's a tough thing to do. So coaches, I understand what you're up against and how difficult it can be. I think we all, as a community, the fans, the coaches, the players, the parents, everybody alike, if we can just come together and understand that it's all about the youth, and that's who are getting amiss in this situation when you're throwing tyrants and we're going off and all those things. All they want to do is have fun, enjoy themselves. 99.9% of them is not going to go to professional sports. All right? But basketball is a sport, period. It's going to be something that can entail and can teach them so much out of life, and you don't want to rob them of that experience. And that's Umoja 2 TV's take.
No question about it. Yeah, Coach, I think you said a mouthful there, Coach, and I totally agree with it, because I think a lot of times it's like it said, you know, bad sports teaches you about being punctual. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not punctual for practice, Coach, what happens is a lot of times the coach gonna have you do sprints. Or have you do something that, you know, the consequence has to be,
That's
you know, a fact. And then, you know, pretty soon you're going to get that consequence. You're going to understand I got to be there on time. So it teaches you something about being on time.
That's a
you have
fact.
a job, you got to be there punctual, you got to be there on time.
That's
you
a
know what I
fact.
mean? It also teaches you how to work well with others. Even so, you know, you have to be your best friend, but you need this, I need this 6'9" guy here on my team to clog that middle so that we can get this victory. I might not like that 6'9" guy, but I need him to, work with him so that we can accomplish this team goal. You know what I mean?
It's not even close. I remember one coach told me one time, he said, listen, he said, Torson, if you quit now, you're going to quit your girlfriend, you're going to quit your job, you're going to quit your life, you're going to quit on everything. And then so you teach his kids to stick with stuff. You know what I mean? Stick through it, be punctual, be accountable, be responsible, and be all those things that entail life that when you get beyond a sport, you're going to have to live. So we don't want to rob these kids of the great opportunity to teach them those life tools that they can sustain and stay with them for the duration of their life.
That's right. We
don't want to take from that.
And usually, Coach, a lot of times it's too, if you feel that your son or daughter is not getting treated properly as far as with playing time, I think everyone can see it. You know what I mean? It's like obvious.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? So if it ain't obvious like that, your parent you need to just sit your tail down somewhere.
Right, because sometimes you're delusional.
Yeah, you're delusional.
You're delusional.
You know what I mean?
And you know, it ain't time. I mean, it ain't time to be right after a game approaching the coach about playing time.
Coach, we always had it when we did it, Coach. You need a 24-hour grace period.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So everybody can cool down.
Everybody can cool down.
You know what I mean? And then talk about it the next day, man, and just knock it out, because there's some things that I see that you might not see. Some things in practice that I definitely see that you definitely not see.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So
that's a good point.
You need to understand that. And we talked about it with Tony DeSikis as well, Coach, how he handles a lot of those situations during the season, Coach. And the biggest thing he said, Coach, if I remember correctly, is that he conveys it to the child, to the player, and it's up to that player to convey that to the parent.
That's it.
You know?
So I'm not spending a lot of time.
No.
And it made sense when he said it. You know, at first I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, you're a coach, sometimes parent, but it made sense. I got 12 to 15 kids. I don't have time to be sitting down here catering to every parent about what they feel, because like I cited earlier, they don't think you know what you're doing for the most part anyway. So I don't have time to sit here throughout the whole season to cater to you and you picking apart why you feel your kid need to do this or do that. You know what I mean? So I'll convey to your kid, they get back to you, and we go from there. I'm not doing
And that's so true, though, about 15. Really, when you're a varsity coach, you got the varsity, you got the JV, and you got the freshman. That's a lot of parents you got to deal with.
That's a lot of parents you got to deal with.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You also got the modified. Your district is big. How many modified programs you got?
God,
so, even Matt Usher said that he deals with his lower level teams.
Right.
So, he deals with a lot of people,
A lot of people.
So,
and it's crazy because, like, the stuff that you be, like, dealing with, you be like, yo, listen, that ain't going to even have no bearing on the game. You got fans ready to attack refs. Yeah. And it's just like, listen, when it comes down to the end of the game, the cusp of it is probably going to be a turnover that costs you the game, a missed box out assignment that costs you the game, a missed free throw that costs you the game, or the coach didn't do a proper substitution, didn't do a proper adjustment or strat. It's so many variables. There's a plethora of things that can take place as why you will lose the game as opposed to officiating. You know what I mean? So I just think the state of sports and where we're going, the direction that we're heading in, we have to clean some of this stuff up and get back to what the basics of what it's supposed to be. And that's what you find a lot of times, unfortunately, is that the youth are the sacrificial lamb. Everybody say they're doing it for the youth, but how does the youth become the sacrificial lamb in the process?
That's right. Okay, Coach. I think we're going to close it out there, Coach. We said a mouthful throughout the day. We're going to be at the Saratoga, hopefully, the Saratoga-LaSalle game.
Yes.
Down there and checking it out. Hopefully bringing that footage for you guys. I just hope you guys are enjoying what we're doing. Please leave a like. Share or leave a comment and follow, share, and subscribe to all our social media outlets, man. We really appreciate the support out there. And some of the people who have commented and shared our content, we really do appreciate you guys. And we want to say Happy New Year to everyone out there, and hope 2019 brings you even more happiness and joy and prosperity.
Yeah, and be safe. The holidays coming up, New Year's is coming up. Just be safe and have a good time and enjoy yourself.
That's right. Umoja TWO TV signing out. Kurt, take us out with the fader. Peace.